Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to the Midday News on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Uyi Agmofwegbe, reminding our viewers that we are on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. The president of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, Professor Chris Piwuna, says the federal government does not prioritize education since its officials do not consider the sector's problems as national concerns requiring collective responsibility. Piwuna, who spoke during an interview, said the indifference of key government officials towards the education sector has made it difficult to achieve sustainable reforms. He alleged that members of the Federal Executive Council often view education-related challenges as the sole responsibility of the Minister of Education. President of the Medical and Dental Consultants Association of Nigeria, Professor Apollos Ondukuba, has raised the alarm over the growing workload on consultants in public hospitals following the ongoing indefinite strike by members of the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors, saying they are already overwhelmed. Speaking in an interview, Ondukuba said consultants across various hospitals are struggling to keep basic health services running amidst the industrial action by resident doctors. He emphasized that effective healthcare delivery depends on teamwork, urging the government to resolve the impasse quickly. The National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, NACON, has announced a downward review of the Hajj fare for the 2026 pilgrimage. A statement by the Commission noted that the reduction followed a recommendation by Vice President Kashif Shettima to reduce the fare from over 8.7 million naira for intending pilgrims from the southern zone and 8 million naira from those traveling from the north. The statement further noted that the revised figure would see 792,943.8 naira reduced from the initial Hajj fare, depending on the pilgrim's departure zone. The federal government has assured the residents and foreign nationals of ongoing efforts to improve security across Nigeria, following a fresh travel warning issued by the United Kingdom. Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, said the government is keenly aware of security challenges in parts of the country and is making efforts to address them and make every part of the country safe for citizens and foreigners alike. The minister also said President Bola Tinubu had recently restructured top security personnel, increasing investment in military hardware and intelligence operations. Vice President Kashif Shettima has returned to Abuja after leading Nigeria's delegation to the 30th United Nations Climate Change Conference in Belém, Brazil. The return of Shettima was announced in Abuja in a statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Communications in the Office of the Vice President, Stanley Nkwocha. At the global event, the country reaffirmed its frontline position in global climate action and its commitment to a green transition. Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has granted defaulters of the Land Use Purpose Clause of properties in Asokoro, Maitama, Garki, and Wuse districts in the Federal Capital Territory a final grace period of 14 days to comply with the terms and conditions of the approval for land use charge and conversion. In a statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the Minister of Public Communications and Social Media, Larry Olayinka, the defaulters now have 14 days from Tuesday, November 11, 2025 to pay a violation fee of 5 million naira and other applicable fees for land use change and conversion. The minister also stated that failure to comply within the stated 14 calendar day grace period will result to enforcement actions by the FCT administration. Let's turn to other stories for you. The federal government says it has approved 3 transformative policies: the Rewards and Recognition Policy, Incentive and Consequence Management Policy, as well as the civil service monitoring policy to boost productivity and enhance service delivery. The strategic approval was granted during the Federal Executive Council meeting presided over by President Bola Tinubu in a landmark decision to fundamentally reshape the federal civil service. This landmark development heralds a new era of performance-driven governance, strategic talent development, as well as enhanced accountability designed to work in synergy to motivate staff, instill a culture of excellence, and significantly improve service delivery to the Nigerian people. Kogi State's government has charged the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Waidi Shaibu, and the Chairman, Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Professor Josh Amukbito, to be good ambassadors of the state. Commissioner for Finance, Asiwaju Ashiru Idris, gave the charge in a statement signed in Lokoja, the state capital, describing the appointments of the two individuals to the offices by President Bola Tinubu as a plus and a pride to the government and people of Kogi State. He said the appointments were received by the government and the people of the state with great joy and appreciation across the state. Inspector General of Police IGP Kayode Egbetokun has called for a deeper collaboration among security agencies, the academia, and communities to tackle Nigeria's multifaceted insecurity. Speaking at the third edition of a security summit organized by the Lagos State University of Education with the theme Strengthening the Partnership Between Town and Gown in the Age of Insecurity, Egbetokun said national security cannot rely on force alone but must be anchored on education, morality, and civic responsibility. The police boss also described the security threats confronting the country as complex and technology-driven, listing them as cyber attacks, misinformation, kidnapping, as well as terrorism. Niger State's Governor Umar Bago has reaffirmed commitment to using biotechnology and innovation as key tools for achieving sustainable agricultural growth and positioning Niger State as a leader in Nigeria's quest for food self-sufficiency. Speaking after receiving an award at the Open Forum on Agricultural Biotechnology Media Award in Abuja, Bago, represented by Chairman House Committee on Finance Seidu Abdullahi, said receiving award for achievements in the agricultural sector is not just a personal honor, but a testament to the state's transformation into Nigeria's agricultural hub. He noted that the honor underscores the state's push towards the governance feeds the nation agenda, which aligns with President Bola Tinubu's renewed hope agenda on agriculture and food security. In a country where the internet connects millions of jobs, education, health, and other opportunities, the rising cost of data may become a setback for national development. In light of the spike in the cost of internet connectivity that affects nearly every Nigerian, the silent impact might be unimaginable if critical policies are not put in place to regulate the sector from the standpoint of checking arbitrary pricing. In this special report, our correspondent Sadia Yakubu takes a look at the high cost of data and its adverse impacts on end users.
Today is no longer news that Nigerians are struggling to survive in the midst of numerous economic challenges, with mobile network operators in the country systematically passing on operating costs of data consumers. In addition, the sudden increase on the cost of data subscription has gradually but steadily driven business, particularly those in the micro and small brackets, to the bricks. At the height of this, questions are being asked to determine major factors driving this astronomical cost increase. We speak to a cross section of Nigerians on the streets who share their views and experiences on this issue.
See, they're easy for us. So, if, like 2 years back or 3 years back, when I they use data, they enjoy the data. If you even buy like 5,000, you go use and they do watch YouTube, watch this. But now, just like I said that they use straw, they suck the data.
Telecommunications operators recently made a strong case for an upward review of tariff cutting across calls, text messaging, and internet data services. These developments drawing criticism from subscribers as expected, seen at least 50% increase in this regard.
The cost is becoming so much that the normal Nigerian will not be able to afford. Please, the government should help us reduce it, and I think by that way, most little business that is trying to come up can go up.
Apparently, access to affordable internet is directly linked to economic growth, education, as well as success to robust healthcare services. It is often said that when people cannot afford data, they may not also be able to access knowledge, find remotely work, or sell online. As the maximum goes, the cost of data is the cost of opportunities.
It's crazy, especially when you're using an iPhone. The data finishes on time, but at least on Android it's still manageable. But an iPhone user, no.
The digital world is here, but how many Nigerians can truly afford to be part of it? The cost of data isn't just about Naira and Kobo. It's about access, equality, and the future. Let's push for a Nigeria where everyone can connect without going broke. Sadia Yakubu Yahya, Global Television.
Well, thank you so very much, Sadia Yakubu, for bringing us up to speed as to the dynamics around the cost of internet connectivity. This is Global Television, and you're watching the live broadcast of the Midday News with Uyi Agumofwebe. When the rest of the news returns, the United States Senate takes first step toward ending 40-day government shutdown. Details coming shortly, plus business and sports stories on the other side for you. Please do stay with us. The second part of these news broadcasts now returns with business. The federal government has announced plans to make the long-awaited National Housing Data Center fully operational by December. This was disclosed in a statement stating that the move is aimed at transforming Nigeria's housing and real estate policy landscape through credible evidence-based data. Led by the Federal Ministry of Housing and Urban Development, the initiative unites public and private stakeholders to standardize housing data, monitor deficit reduction efforts, and guide policy as well as investment decisions. The Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria has rolled out a comprehensive set of measures aimed at cleaning up operations and improving passenger experience across major terminals. The authority rolled out these plans in a document titled Position Document on measures to address corrupt practices and enhance passenger experience at MAIA and GATT, which was signed by the Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Kaimo. The framework developed after an emergency high-level meeting involving the authority's Managing Director, Olubomi Kuku, and other heads of agencies working within the airports, outlines Operation AirClean, an initiative designed to eliminate corrupt practices, enhance transparency, and improve airport operations, particularly at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport and the General Aviation Terminal in Lagos. Nigeria is taking another bold step toward food security and agricultural expansion. This follows the signing of a Memorandum of Understanding by the National Agricultural Land Development Authority
agenda for agricultural transformation and rural prosperity. He added that the partnership will create thousands of jobs and promote youth participation through in-grower and cluster farming systems.
Per hectare is reducing. Nigeria is a country blessed with vast land resources. We are increasing, now that is increasing access to land, thereby increasing the per hectare access for each farmer. So while the price of cassava is dropping, this is good for our food cost. This is also good for our production cost, so that when we produce the derivatives, we can compete globally in the international market.
The Executive Secretary commended the federal government's economic policies for boosting investor confidence, revealing that 6 new international investors have indicated interest in similar agricultural projects.
We are not only producing or cultivating for our own processing plant, but we're also cultivating for other processing plants in Nigeria so that cassava starch will be made available. HQCF will be made available to feed the nation, because we are also dwelling in the dream of Mr. President to totally eradicate poverty in Nigeria and to also curb food insecurity in Nigeria.
With Nigeria leading global cassava production by earning little from exports, the partnership could mark a turning point in transforming rural economies and adding value to one of Nigeria's most abundant crops. Anieti Patrick reporting for Global TV News. At a brief ceremony in Abuja,
We deeply appreciate your reporting, Aniete. Let's now turn to the foreign scene. Angola will be celebrating the 50th anniversary of its independence from Portugal tomorrow, following its declaration of sovereignty on 11 November 1975 at the end of a 13-year war. The event took place in a dramatic circumstance, with the nationalist forces of the People's Movement for the Liberation of Angola and the National Union for the Total Independence of Angola engaging in a civil war that lasted close to 3 decades. Commemorations of the independence anniversary have been ongoing throughout the year, but beyond the celebrations of this historic milestone, many Angolans still face significant social and economic struggles. And still in Africa, a Sudanese medical organization has accused the paramilitary rapid support forces of engaging in a desperate attempt to conceal evidence of mass killings in Darfur by burning bodies or burying them in mass graves. The Sudan Doctors Network says paramilitaries are collecting hundreds of bodies from the streets of El Fasher in Sudan's western Darfur region after their bloody takeover of the city on October 26, saying the group's crimes could not be erased through concealment or burning. The International Organization for Migration, IOM, estimates that 82,000 of Al Fasher's total population of 260,000 fled after the RSF seized the last Sudanese military stronghold in the region amid reports of mass killings, rape, torture. Many residents are believed to still be trapped. And beyond Africa now, senators in the United States have voted to move forward with a stopgap funding package aimed at ending the longest government shutdown in the country's history. In our procedural votes, 8 Democrats broke rank and voted in favor of advancing the Republican measure, which will keep the government open until January 30. The bill would also fund some parts of the government, including FID and the legislative branch, for the next year. Let's bring you some sporting stories now. Senate President Godswill Akpabio has renewed calls for a return to grassroots football development, warning that Nigeria's football future could remain bleak unless concerted efforts are made to discover and grow young talents across the country. The President of the Senate made the remarks in Abuja at the commencement of the 2nd edition of the Senate President's Under-18 Unity Cup, a youth football tournament he instituted. The competition, which kicked off at the Old Parade Ground in Garki, has attracted 21 teams, including 16 male and 5 female squads, drawn from different parts of the country. And out to the rave of the moment, the spirit of unity, competition, and excellence came alive in Jos, Plateau State capital, as the 27th Nigeria University Games officially kicked off, with thrilling opening matches across multiple sporting. The University of Jos played host to a colorful display of talent and determination as athletes from across the nation began their quest for gold. Global TV sports correspondent Samuel Udi, who is following the games for us, now takes it from here.
The air around the University of Jos Sports Complex was electric as the first whistle signaled the start of the much-anticipated NOGA 2025 games. Students, fans, and dignitaries gathered in excitement as match unfolds simultaneously across the venues, each showcasing the strength and unity that defines Nigerian university sports. In handball, Team Lasso battled fiercely against Federal University Mina in the opening match that kept the crowd on its feet from start to finish. Over at the indoor sport hall, the basketball court saw fast-paced action as the University of Jos took on University of Benue in a well-contested encounter, while the football arena echoed with cheers. Speaking at the official opening of the games, the Vice-Chancellor of the University of Jos, Professor Tanko Isia, expressed his pride in hosting the nation's finest young athletes and reaffirmed the institution's commitment to sports development. Today's event also drew admiration from participants and fans alike who described the atmosphere as charged with energy and purpose. Many hailed the organization and facilities provided by the host universities as top-notch. Athletes across disciplines showed skills, resilience, and passion as they varied for early victories. From track events to court games, the message was clear. NOGA 2025 is set to be one of the most competitive editions yet. As the games continues through the week, all eyes remain on the medal table and the emerging stars destined to make their mark on Nigerian sporting future. With the University of Jos setting the pace for an unforgettable week of sporting excellence, the 27th NOGA Games promises not to just be a competition but also a celebration of youthful engagement and unity among national pride. Samuel Odi for Global Television News.
Samuel Odi will continue to bring us updates and highlights from the city of Jos. The Nigerian Football League has handed Katsina United a total fine of 9 million naira and ordered them to play all remaining home games behind closed doors in Jos following incidents of violence during their 1-1 draw with Barao FC. In the statement, the league body charged Katsina United with multiple breaches of its framework and rules, including failure to provide adequate security and to control their supporters. The league said unauthorized persons gained access to restricted areas, while fans also threw harmful objects onto the pitch, resulting in injuries to Barao FC players. And that's how we wrap it up here on the Miidday News on Global Television. Thank you so very much for watching. As always, we'd love to remind you that we are on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. Remember to follow and engage with us across social media platforms using @GlobalTVNG as well as other handles now showing on your screen. I'm Agmofwebe saying we're grateful for your time.